Today I'd like to talk to you about my journey with Lyme disease. First, let me give you a little background about myself. I'm a biointensive farmer and I grow almost all the food for my husband and I in the Bangtail Mountains in Montana at 7,300 feet. We're off the grid and we live in a passive solar house. We use no chemical fertilizers, herbicides, or pesticides, and we produce all of our grass-fed meats and eggs, vegetables, fruits, grains, milk, cheese, cooking oils, pepper, etc. We make our own flour and grind it and make pasta. We make our own mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard, vinegar, crackers. You name it, we make it. I thought I was pretty healthy. I don't know when I contracted the disease. I began to have symptoms in 2006, and I went to my primary care physician with this laundry list of unrelated ailments. My knees would swell, my neck was stiff, I can't turn my head, I can't read after 3 p.m., I'm bloated, I'm weak, I'm tired no matter how much sleep I got, foggy thinking. I couldn't see as well as I used to, and I had less energy than I thought I should. My doctor told me to suck it up and go home because I was getting old. So I did. Each year, for 3 years in a row, I'd go to the eye doctor and I'd ask for glasses. I'd say, "Doc, I can't read after 3 in the afternoon." And he would say, "You've got 20/20 vision. Just get some $9.99 reading glasses. You'll be fine." My husband began to notice certain disturbing things about me on the job. We were doing finished carpentry work and I was having trouble seeing what I was doing. I had trouble in communicating to the crew, and I began taking naps in the truck at lunch. At first it was just 20 minutes, and then it was an hour, and then 2. And when we'd get home, I was exhausted. Finally, I just couldn't make it to work anymore, and he started doing without me. I didn't really notice I was isolating, but talking was becoming such an effort, and I had so little energy. And the words were so jumbled in my head. I was also having trouble walking. My husband was beginning to think I had Alzheimer's. He'd started grieving the loss of his wife, he told me later. By the end of the second year, I was having neurological problems, and he began staying home with me as I could no longer make meals for myself. This began our financial decline as well. After 3 years, I found a new doctor, a naturopath, and she diagnosed me with Lyme. We were so relieved it wasn't Alzheimer's. Then we began researching Lyme, and we were not so pleased. The doctor put me on 4 antibiotics simultaneously for 3 years. I decided to cancel my health insurance as the deductible was so high it never paid anything anyway, and I could use the $400 a month to pay for the doctor and the drugs. I made it 13 months of the 3 years on antibiotics, and then my guts shut down. It was so painful. The flora was totally destroyed in my gut. I couldn't ingest enough pre- and probiotics to keep up. The drugs were killing me from the inside out. I couldn't eat anything without my stomach bloating until I thought I would burst. After a meal, I was so weak, I couldn't leave the table. I would sit there and sweat and shake for an hour until I had the strength enough to make it back to the bed. I'd really entered a black hole in my life, and my marriage suffered untold damage. The doctor took me off the antibiotics and sort of cut me loose. She said, "When the bacteria count goes up and you have symptoms you can't stand anymore, we'll put you back on the drugs." I have to say, I felt so bad off the drugs, I couldn't imagine getting back on them. I didn't really know what to do. I met with a friend one day who told me about minerals and how they help the body cleanse toxins. Cleansing. I had heard of colon cleansing, coffee enemas, juice cleanses, and all the horror stories associated with them. And honestly, I felt so weak I thought something like that might kill me. But she assured me that this was different, a cellular cleanse that floods the body with optimal nutrition, highly digestible nutrition, which allows the body to cleanse itself naturally. Now, minerals, I know about them, and I knew my soil was missing boron, sulfur, copper, and I had low iron. I also had very high amounts of potassium, which blocks the absorption of calcium. So there were 5 minerals I knew of right away that I wasn't getting in the food I was growing. I found out later that humans need 80 trace minerals just to be healthy, and I have yet to find a soil test that tests for all 80. It's very frustrating. I had never made the connection. It's right here in the biointensive book. I read it. The minerals are in the food, right? If I eat my broccoli, I'll get my minerals. But what if they're not in the soil in the first place? The USDA says they're there. After starting on the minerals, I felt immediately better. I thought I would try a cleanse, and I felt even better. Needless to say, I went right back to the doctor and asked her to check me for Lyme because I thought I was cured. She did, and I still had Lyme. So I asked her if she could explain why I felt so good, and she said no. And I asked her if I could die from a lack of minerals, and she said yes. So I asked her why she didn't put me on IV minerals and ask me to do some sort of cleanse or detox, as I knew she did some of her patients. And she told me because I eat so good. I eat like she tells her patients to eat, and they never do. Well, I guess if I'd been thinking straight, I could have told her that I was missing some things from my diet. But the thought never crossed my mind. I don't think it crossed hers either. I just assumed, as she did, that I was getting everything I needed. Now I know different. I think the reason everyone is getting sick in this country is because there are too few minerals in the foods we are eating, and far too many toxins we're exposed to every single day. Our immune systems are so compromised they can't even handle a simple bacteria anymore.
Everyone tells us to take this supplement and that herb or this drug. Perhaps we need to focus on getting all the nutrition we need every day.
After 4 years of feeling better and better each year, I can now say I feel 20 years younger and I am stronger than I was even before I contracted Lyme. I cleanse regularly and I make sure I flood my body every day with massive amounts of nutrients. I would love to share this with you, what I did.
Bottom line, we all need to be doing something to counteract the damaging effects of toxins, stress, and poor diet. I invite you to share my solution. Are you ready for a lifestyle change?